Hello, this is a video being made for one of my potential buyers on eBay for a new build computer system, just to show its capabilities and what everything is in the system. So the processor is going to be a Ryzen 5 3400G with integrated Vega 11 graphics, BioStar with chipset B450, 500 watt power supply. You're going to have 16 gigabytes of 3000 MHz RAM. The XMP will be activated by me in BIOS. And then you have the 480 gigabyte SSD. System itself over here. We're going to power it on in a second just to show what it can do, run a few benchmarks and things of that nature. And yes, this is my personal rig here, but as you can see, everything that matters anyway, this is just the other peripherals. But we're going to have the power hooked up. HDMI in, because it is integrated graphics, is going to be in the motherboard here. Sorry. And then of course just Ethernet speakers, and then my mouse and keyboard. So go ahead and power it up, see how the boot sequence goes. So, yep, that's just the speaker beep letting you know that's going to post. And of course, while we're waiting on that, I can show you that remote control wise controls all of the LED lighting inside, so you can customize that to whatever you want it to. So I'm going to turn it off right now for the rest of this. So the system booted up, and I wasn't really counting, but I'm thinking 15-20 seconds, something of that nature. Do a quick login here. And yes, the Windows will be reinstalled, and you're also going to get a USB drive with a key for your option of whether it be Windows Home or Windows Pro. I'll load it up for you before I actually ship out the computer. That's just the OneDrive message. I never signed in. So we'll wait for it to do the rest of its startup, logging into Battle.net and Steam and things of that nature. And just for a real quick, what we're going to do is I'm going to start up Rainbow Six Siege. We'll run it through its in-game benchmark. I'll show you what the settings are, then you'll get an idea of how many frames that's actually going to run in that game. We'll go and do Doom Eternal, and we'll wrap it up with Fortnite. As far as all the other games, things like Minecraft or Valorant, League of Legends, all of those esports type titles, I think you'll pretty much agree with me that if it can run Rainbow Six Siege, Diablo 3, Doom Eternal, it's going to knock those other ones out of the park. The most rigorous one I think we're actually going to run on it right now is going to be Fortnite. Now you see the Call of Duty, that's the new Warzone, and Rust. I did benchmark those on this, but they are not what I would consider to be playable. So those were 720p at low settings, getting around 30 frames, which for me is not what I would use this system for. Okay, well, since the game is finally starting to load up here, I'm just going to go to the keyboard here. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-O to bring up the overlay for Radeon, which is going to give us an overlay, if you can see it up there on the screen. And I'll zoom in on that and show you what it is throughout the benchmarking process. But we go over here to Options. You'll see Display. It's going to be at 920 by 1080p. And then graphical settings, got it set to custom, so high textures, maxed out anti-aliasing for the benchmark. Shaders, going to be at medium, quality medium, medium, and then high on some other things. So really this is kind of a mixture of medium-high settings overall. Of course, you could drastically increase the frame rate by knocking this down to no anti-aliasing, but we'll go ahead and run the benchmark here. So you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the Rainbow Six in-game, and it's saying that right now it's floating around the low 60, high 70 area. And then up here, the Radeon one showing at that particular point in time about mid-60s. So right now with a 1080p medium to high settings, even with anti-aliasing maxed out, it's running it easily at 60 frames. And of course, it'll give us a full report once the benchmark finishes. Alright, so finish this benchmark. So the final results is an average of 58, and then it has its overall timeline of frames here. It looks like our average was hurt by a sudden drop here, so we had a low of a 39 for a split second there. But all in all, like I said, I set these settings to kind of average you out at 60, since that's the most common refresh rate for most folks' monitors out there. So now that one's done, go ahead and shut down Rainbow 6. And we'll start up Doom Eternal. Don't need the performance metric since I got the overlay working properly again. And put it back on Ultra Nightmare. Okay, so Doom Eternal runs fine. Let's see, where's Fortnite? Auto launch. So we'll start up again. When we get down to the ground level, we'll actually start messing around with some video settings and actually see what it runs like. While we're on the waiting lobby, I think we should have enough time to go over what it's currently at. So right now, set to 1080p, limiting frame rate to 120. We didn't change that to 60 just because it's better for resource management. And again, most people are running 60 hertz monitors. Right now, it looks like you got it tested at medium to low custom settings, 75% 3D resolution. We'll go ahead and bump that up to 100, hit apply. And DirectX 12, I know I was recently testing with that, and I don't recall if it was better under 11 or 12. But let's go ahead and jump out. While skydiving here, it's at 32. So when we get down to the ground, we'll see, I mean, it's fine frame-wise as far as responsiveness, playability, but we'll see what we can do here. Get to the ground so we don't die while I'm messing around with settings. Okay, so let's go back into settings. Now, of course, the easiest thing I could do would be to punch down the overall resolution, but let's go with, let's see, anti-aliasing is already off. We already got benchmarking here showing. So yeah, we'll take this back down to 75. Hit apply, back. So now that's running at about, I would say mid to low 50s, while standing still it went up to 58 or so, but looks like it's running in the mid 50s. Let me see if I can pick up some stuff here without dropping the phone. So, looking around. So we've got it limited to 60, so it's not going to show anything above 60. But with these settings, I mean, still looks pretty decent. And that's playing those right back up so I can actually get the frames in the picture. And of course, if I were to go in and drop it down in overall resolution, so if you're playing on an older monitor that may have, you know, VGA inputs or something of that nature, DVI, you could go down to 720p or 1600 by 900. I think more people are probably going to have a 720p type of older monitor if they are running older hardware, so I wouldn't test that out. And yeah, back on that. Of course, it's limited to 60 still. So we can unlimit it and see what kind of spikes we get real quick, I guess. So put it on 144. And it looks like it's still going to run. Oh, now it's starting to catch up. So around the high 70s or so, 80s on 720p. But if you are running a 1080p monitor, then I'd recommend just, you know, run those same settings. You'll be getting around mid 50s. And that about wraps it up.